Hey, I'm Javinia. This is my very first vlog, which is kind of strange. I decided to start doing this. I don't know why, I just thought it'd be fun. I'm full-time mum and a carer to my partner. So yeah, I don't know what else to tell you about me. I really don't. Anyway, I'm gonna first start talking about the whole how I found out I was pregnant and going through the pregnancy. So basically the day I found out I was pregnant, I was in crucial pain. Curled over, I wouldn't eat or anything, and my partner suggested I ring 111. So I did, and they said they'd get a doctor to ring me back. And the first thing the doctor asked, so I'm like, not that I know of. So he told me just to be safe, go get a pregnancy test before anything else is done. So he hung up, and I asked my partner to run to the shop for me. He brought a test back, and I did it there and then. I will say it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was at university at the time as well. And I did the test, curled up in bed, and my partner sat and watched it. It was a clear blue one, because all the cheaper ones just never worked anywhere, for me anyway. I said anywhere 3 times now. And next thing I knew, he turned around and said, "You're pregnant." And I went, my face was actually like, huh? So he told me I was pregnant, 1 to 2 weeks. So it was very, very early stages. Now I'm like, I'm at university. But he was slightly planned, slightly not. I kind of came off the pill a little bit too early. I was planning on coming off it in February, and I ended up coming off it at the beginning of October. And it was just before my birthday I found out I was pregnant. Roughly that time anyway. So, and then through the pregnancy, I had morning sickness a lot, heartburn, the joys, and I slept a lot. I couldn't understand why. I just wanted to sleep all the time. It was so strange. And then at the beginning, I got a really bad water infection. I've been prone to them for the past 2 years of just getting water infections. And I ended up going through to hospital, and the hospital I went to asked if I was pregnant, and I went, yes I am, and I've got a water infection again. So they did a pregnancy test there and then, along with an infection test, and they went, "You're not pregnant. You're not all pregnant. We'll give you this, you've got to go down to the walk-in centre, and they'll give you the medication you need." So I'm like, yeah, I'll ask them to do a pregnancy test there. So I went to the walk-in centre. I said, "By the way, I'm pregnant, early stages." Hospital said I'm not at all. So the nurse there did the test straight away, and she went, "It's a faint line, but you are pregnant." And I'm like, yeah, I knew this. I really knew this. So if I'd been given the wrong medication there and then, I basically could have sued the hospital for either killing my child or any he would have had, which would have been scary. So through the pregnancy anyway. My water infections finally disappeared after my 3rd month of being pregnant. They just didn't turn up. I had none, which was very strange because I was so used to them coming like every couple of months. But yeah. And then there was a whole... we had no house. And we were worrying about money, both me and my partner. And there was no way we were going to get a house ready in time. So we were basically living, well, not living, we were stopping over each other's houses every so often at our parents', well, for my case, parent, because I only have one now. I only have my mum, because my dad passed away 12 years, Boxing Day, 4 days before his birthday, which is really hard still. I was only 10, so it's quite hard. So my emotions were all over the place while I was pregnant, because I'm like, what would my dad say? What would I do if he was here? Wish he was here to help. And I was thinking that all the way through the pregnancy. And then my waters broke quite early, at 33 weeks. But I was a silly one and started nesting the week beforehand. I started wanting to tidy my room. I needed it tidy. I was moving stuff. Silly woman. But yeah, I was moving a lot of stuff. And I ended up going next door to my auntie's. And then I thought, I feel weird. I'm going to go next door and change my pad. So I did. And I realised there was blood on my pad. So I'm there going, that's my plug. That's actually my plug. My plug is gone. So I rang my partner because he wasn't here at the time. And I was like, my plug's gone. I think my plug has gone. And he's like, what? And I'm like, it's meant to go early. Sometimes people don't realise the plug's gone. And then, next thing, I went back to my auntie's after being on the phone. Sat. And then, about after 10 minutes, I was like, I need a wee. I really, really need the toilet. So I got up, got to my auntie's wheelchair, and gush. I knew my waters had like totally gone. And I'm like, what do I do? I literally said to my sister, who was also in the room, my waters have gone. They've actually gone. I think they've gone. I'm going to have to go to the toilet. So I did change my pad as quickly as possible. And obviously my waters were still going. And I'm there going, I'm 33 weeks. My waters aren't meant to go yet. My sister's waters hadn't even gone that early or anything. And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? I was actually quite calm though. It was strange. I was completely calm. And then went back downstairs, sat down. My sister rang the hospital. My mum's boyfriend said, right, we'll get you to the hospital now. We'll take you while your sister's on the phone. Grab your notes, grab your bags. We'll get going. I was having no contractions. And nothing. Just my waters had gone. Got to the hospital. And they were like, right, we'll have to scan you. Check if your waters had gone. Do an internal exam. Blah, blah, blah. And they said, you've got 2 sacks of waters. Every woman, when you're pregnant, have 2 sacks of waters. Your outer waters, and then the inner waters that the bairn's in. And they said, both waters have gone. So I'm like, oh. So they checked if I was contracting or anything. I went, nope. Braxton Hicks is all I'm getting. Not painful, they're just awkward. And they said, can you feel the pen? I'm like, yeah, he hurts. He kicks, I care. I'm gonna bleep that out. But yeah, when he kicked, it hurt a lot. And I was in hospital couple of days. And they went, well, things happening, we'll send you home. They're sending someone whose waters have gone at a really early stage home. So I'm like, right-yo. And they said, you're on bed rest. You're not allowed to do anything at all. And I'm like, okay. That's going to be hard. They went, you stay in your bedroom or sit down on the sofa downstairs. Either way, you're not allowed to lift a finger. So I'm like, right here. Went back home. And they also told me if there was any changes as well, I had to come straight back in. So, at home, my partner was now stopping over because we were worried I was going to go into labour. And the day he went back home to his mum's and dad's, I realised there was blood on my pad. And I'm like, oh shit. So I rang him saying, you've got to get to the hospital. I'm going now, I'll meet you there. And we took my bags and they kept me in for a few days. I can't remember the name of it. No, the thing that goes on your wrist, on your hand. I'm doing the wrong hand like, 'cause it was that one. No!
Oh, the...
That thing.
I know what you're on about. The cannula.
That's the one. The cannula in. I had to have a child's one. They wouldn't put an adult's one in. They would only give me a child's one because I'll smell my hand there. Lucky for me. But it is, I was in there in a matter of, 5 days?
Yeah.
5 days, and then they weren't going to do anything. They were just going to send me home. Went for my scan, and they said there's about 2 centimetres of water in there. And you have strep B. I'm like, what is that? They explained what it was, and I'm like, okay, it can affect me more, and it can affect the Ben. Jeez. So they kept me there. My screen just went off. But they kept me there for another couple of days. Someone came round saying that they were either going to induce me or send me home. So I'm like, right, yeah, I'm hoping they're inducing me. So I ended up going down to the labour ward. And I sat in there for near enough a full day. And I can't remember what she was, but she was like mostly my doctor. Yeah, that was it, my consultant. She came in and was like, right, what do you want to do? Because they're wanting to send you home so you can just have bed rest and that. And I'm like, really? Really? Did I get a choice? And she left the room and Ross decided, no, I'm not having this. Do you want the burnout? I'm like, yeah, I do. I want him out now. Like, right now. So, Ross went out, spoke with the doctor, and she came back and said, is it your choice? Is that what you want us to do? I went, yeah, I want him out. I'm scared he's going to get strep B. He's going to have problems with his lungs. Blah, blah, blah. I went on for a while. And then, obviously, Ross started arguing, saying, you either get the Ben out, or I'm suing the hospital if my son ends up with anything. And I'm like, okay, right, we're gonna have to get the Ben out, like, now. So I ended up going back to maternity ward. I was left there for a day. No, it was half a day. And they came to get me again, and obviously they induced me. I didn't have the actual inducement until about 6 o'clock at night, and I had a really nice midwife at the start of it. Like, she was really, really nice. And she had to go because her shift had ended, and I got this horrible midwife. She didn't interact with us, she didn't have a laugh with us or anything. She was just a complete old biddy, should I say, stuck in her old ways. And I was doing perfectly fine. She went, if you need any pethidine, tell us. Do you want the gas and air yet? And I didn't have the gas and air until 2 hours later after being induced. And I'm like, yeah, I really need it now. I really need it. I was going to try and go without anything, but I'm going to need the gas and air. And I was determined to just have the gas and air. And then at 9, I couldn't take the pain no more. I'm like, pethidine. Give me the pethidine. And she gave me it. My partner nearly fainted at the needle. But she gave me it, and then I was still in too much pain. And I'm like, the pethidine is not working, but I'm going to ignore it. I don't want to be stabbed with a needle yet. So I kept going. I was refusing to have an epidural. I did not want that. So I was just going through it, kept breathing, and then I ended up having a little sing-song, which worked, because it was taking my mind off, like, all the contractions. And I don't know, I think I was hallucinating or something, but I was positive I could see my dad in the room, like standing next to my mum. And I'm like, my dad's there. And my mum's like, yes he is. And I'm like, no, really, he's there. And there was I find it funny because there was a dove outside the room, like at the window. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a sign. That's gotta be a sign. But yeah, I didn't scream at my partner all the way through the labour, apart from near the end. I didn't yell at him saying you're not coming near me. I was perfectly fine. Apart from the whole but it didn't feel all that bad until I heard the midwife at the door saying, we're going to do a C-section. And this was like at 12 midnight, and I'm like, that's not bloody happening. I'm refusing that. She was like, oh, she's gonna have to have a C-section, the baby's heart keeps dropping. I'm like, no, it's not. He keeps moving away from the monitor. He doesn't want the monitor. I'm refusing this. And I was only 4 centimetres dilated. And I thought, fuck this, I need to push. I'm going to push. And I started pushing in. And I'm like, I can't do this. No, I can't. And my partner's like, yes you can. Yes you can, you can do this. And I'm like, no, I can't. I kept it going, and it was 34 minutes past midnight that I had him. I had little Levi. He was weighing £3 13 ounces. And honestly, I remember half my labour. I remember him being shoved on my chest, and me being all high pitched going, hey Levi, I'm Nanny. Got a first picture with him, and then they took him away to go to special care because of him being 6 weeks early. So I'm like, right, okay, I'll have to deal with that. And my mum asked if it's okay if Ross stayed the night, and she went home, and they were like, yeah, that's fine, you can go home, he can stay the night. And then they moved me back onto the maternity ward and said, no, he can't stay, he's got to go home. So thank the Lord that his dad was still awake, because his dad came and got him. But I was not happy at all. We got told he could stay the night, and then boom, he wasn't allowed, he had to go home. It just wasn't on. I was a new mother, and I was scared. I'd just been through labour, and I'd been left on my own. It just wasn't right. So, I'm going to end this vlog here. because I think I've talked like way too long. So in my next vlog I'll talk about what happened in the hospital, seeing my son for the first time in Skaboo, and then when he came home and back and forth from houses. So yeah, bye guys.